Well, welcome back to our weekly show, everyone. I know we haven't been doing as many selfies or as many pictures and that kind of posting, but we've been so busy with our movie and having such a great time with it. It's really time to get it finished, and the only way to do that is to work hard on it. We don't have any other projects coming through right now except our film, so we're full-time at the film. I want to thank everyone for all your contributions and donations that you've been sending to us for support of SNG, our motion picture, and also the building of the Enterprise for the Museum of Science Fiction in Washington, D.C. We got a lot of stuff to do this week, and it's all going to be the movie. We've got the Martian spaceship, which I need to get finished off because we're going to do some effect shots week after next with the ship over the building and shooting rays down at buildings and blowing things up. And we also got to start doing stuff with the Martian. I need effect shots in the edit so that we can do our next trailer, which is the real trailer based on the actual footage. The current state of the movie right now is that we are more than halfway. I want to thank both Brad Hoplock for doing all the wonderful graphics. He's the one who put the wonderful sign up on top of our building and has been doing our excellent credit sequence. And also Thomas Martin, or Tommy as we call him, for doing the score, which he's been working on, and we have actually been sent the actual score, and he's scored about all the way up to the point where Model Man Tom knocks on the door upstairs, because I remember I showed you a little bit of that. So he's continually scoring as we produce footage and cut it into the timeline, and the score is amazing, and it really, really works well with the film. Tommy, thank you so much for that. But I digress. Let's get on to our show. We got a lot to do this week. Well, it's time again to get back to the Martian spaceship. The one that looks like the Nautilus, as so many of you suggested, but you know, yeah, it's got those little fins on it and stuff, but it really doesn't, and you'll see that as we progress here. On the bottom of it is a dome. I probably should get the drawing to remind you all what it looks like. Of course, here's the model, and the original sketch for it is over here in this mess. Really, honestly and truly there is, but I can't find it. So, oh yes, there it is. So really, this turned out to look a lot like this, which is great when you draw something and it comes out the way you want. These are fillets, they have to be glued down, and I have to cut a hole in there so I can put the semblance of a cockpit in there. I don't know if I'll put a Martian in there or not. I may not. Down here is an opening, and in this opening is a large dome. I kept the original cutout from the bottom of the ship, and what I'm going to do is sculpt with water-based clay on this very quickly and make an alginate mold and make a stone copy out of that, sand that smooth, and vacuum form it. And so it begins. I've got some DM217 here, which is a water-based clay. And I'm very quickly here going to mask this out. And we'll get it pretty symmetrical, just by hand. I've done this before. Bit by bit, I'll build this up, like so. And there is our basic rough out. And I'm going to take this the stainless steel sculpting grater guy, because what that does is it digs in with that sort of sawtooth like that, and at the same time it kind of levels stuff out. And then we go back over it the other way. There's one more clay there. Go back over the other direction, and the more you do it, the more it starts to even the surface out. To even out the clay. Nice thing about this, I can pick it up. Go right down the sides and get this just beautiful. This is going to be as good as I need it. I will stop there. So there, now we have a pretty smooth shape, and now I'm going to take this side, which is the non-serrated side, and do this, And you can see we're getting a pretty nice little shape there, and then we can take some dental alginate, which is sort of an instant silicone, certainly not material base wise. I believe it's seaweed, and we can then make that quickie mold and produce a stone positive out of that, sand that down further, and then vacuum form, and we'll have a nice little Martian underdome. Okay, now we got a little bit of water in a cup, and since it's water-based clay, it'll smooth that final smooth really well just with a brush and that, and then when it dries, we'll kind of go over the palm of my hand, just like a chamois, and just get the rest of it. And then the rest can be done once I actually get the stone casting out of the alginate, because then you can really sand off all of the imperfections and polish it up pretty smooth, and by the time you vacuum form over it, you got exactly what you want. You can see it's getting smoother and smoother and smoother. You can even take your hand and feel it and go, hey, that's pretty good. And actually it helps to spritz it with a spritz bottle and some water, and that really gets the ripples off it and stuff. It's really going to be, even if I just vacuum form this like it was or is, it would be a really good dome. So, but I'm still going to sand it because you can see some of those shadows in there. Much easier done actually sanding the stone. Okay, we got a bunch of cups here and some warm water in it because that prosthetic grade alginate takes so long to set up. I'm using warm water to kick it off. I'm going to make up some of that, put it over here. Then I'm going to dip this plaster bandage gauze over here. This is for making casts. We've talked about this before, but in case you're checking in for the first time, we're going to put that on there, and that'll give it make the rubbery stuff hold its shape. I'm going to mix this stuff. Okay, so I've mixed up some dental. I keep calling it dental. I'm off camera because I'm mixing over here. But I'm going to make the prosthetic grade wonderfulness. I'm going to put that right on there. Oh, it's nice and warm. Good. Perfect thickness. That should set off fast with this warm water. And you don't want it to set off fast when you're doing a life mask, because it doesn't stick to itself. And so it's a problem when it goes off and you weren't ready for it. It's always good to keep some cotton close by, because if it starts to go off really fast, faster than you want it to, you stop what you're doing once you've got it all over like this pretty much, and you stick the cotton fibers into it as it's just starting to go off, and they will bond with the alginate, and then what happens after that is you can put more alginate on it. So finally, at long last, even with the hot water, the stuff goes off, and you can see, well, yeah, sort of. It's gelled. Now we're going to clean up this a bit. You can see it. It's still not completely set up, but in a few seconds it will be. And here we go. We're going to start doing the plaster bandage. Yes, indeed. And we're just going to kind of soak that in there like that, take it out, wring it out, bring out the excess water, and fold it as best we can, and lose where the fold is. No matter. There we go. It's hard to feel this stuff with gloves on. One of the reasons I don't like working with gloves. But it beats the alternative. And that's going to give us our mother mold, just like that, and that'll set up and be hard here in a matter of minutes, and we'll pop that off and we'll pour our tool stone. So this looks pretty ready to me, and one of the nice advantages of putting a piece of nice styrene like this is you can just do that. See, isn't that cool? Now all I got to do is get it out of there, which shouldn't be too hard. I'm going to get this off first. Plastic. It should just fall out of there, really.
It is. Slowly but surely. Don't call me Shirley. Okay, that comes out like that. And then we're going to just sort of peel it out of there. I should have put some, see how much that's like silicone? But it isn't. Don't be fooled. I'm going to put that back in there. But first what I'm going to do is clean this out so that I can run our stone in it. All cleaned out. Just look how beautiful that is. You know, and like I said, you can cast resin into this stuff. It'll actually allow you to do it. So that's that. Now what we're going to do is mix up some stone and pour it in there. Okie dokie, here we go. We're going to pour this stuff in here. We got our UltraCal 30, which is a really good tool stone. You've heard me talk about it before, but if you don't know what it is, do a Google search and you will find out where it is. Now again, Berman's, it should come no surprise that Berman's, handy clay right here, has this as well in 100-pound sacks, or they'll even sell it to you in 25 pounds and I think 50 pounds. I think it comes in 25-pound sacks and 100-pound sacks, and guess what? I'm going to need some more. And here we have a little more. And I'm going to pour that in there and fill this up so it's nice and level. And then we're going to have to put this on like, a block of wood or something, raise it up a bit before we vacuum form it. I'll probably just cut a piece of plywood or something, just stick it underneath there, raise it off the table. But that vacuum form does work so well, I may not need to. We'll find out soon because I am going to vacuum form one of these after lunch. Of course, the other thing I could do is build it up a bit. But now we'll just put a piece of wood under it. That'll be the best thing. And then we're going to have ourselves a really, really nice piece to vacuum form. So, what do you say we open this up? Here we go. Look at that. And rid of this clay. And we'll take care of that. You can't, you see, you can even make molds with these. I'm assuming I'm in frame. Yes, I am. And I peel that off. And there you go. And you see, you could actually use this again a few times. Oh, there. You know, but we don't need to, so I'm throwing that away. And there's our nice form. And I'm going to rasp this off all the way around. And then we're going to vacuum form it. Okay, time for some vacuum forming. And here's this great vacuum form that Colby gave me a while back, which I'm forever grateful for, because this is probably the best vacuum form I've ever had. Now, I've just turned on the switch over here, and I'm letting things heat up here. And indeed, they are starting to warm up. Nope, we have no power indicator. Interesting. You know, it always helps to plug something in. It was plugged in, but I had to jiggle it. It's not a power strip, which probably shouldn't be on, but it's definitely getting warm now. And in a second here, we will release this and drop it. And we are starting to sag big time, so we're almost there. Just need to sag a little more. A little more. And you don't want to sag too much because you get darts. We're going to use this no matter what, though. The next thing I do is turn on the That's perfect. I forgot to raise this up, but I'm thinking about older vacuum forms I've had and ones I built myself. As I was saying before, my memory card ran out. You know, other vacuum forms that I've used in the past that are, you know, homemade and others, you know, never seem to pull all the way down to this table like that. And I'm not sure why this works so well. This is just a shop vacs. Maybe it's the amount of holes, but see this here? I don't know if you can see that. This is like the Mattel vacuum form. So this will take it down more, but as you saw clearly, this just went down. I didn't even really need to use this feature. So what we're gonna do now is take this out. I pretty well finished off the saucer bottom, not the final paint job. The bottom of it's going to be really scorched and burned up from entering the atmosphere. You'll understand why that happens later. Now let's see, I should be able to skip this right out. There we go. That should just come loose. There it goes. It's tucked in a little bit from behind, but this was my last sheet. My last sheet, Elliot, of this PETG that fit this perfectly, and so I didn't want to make a mistake, but there I've got my dome. So let's go cut this out and see how it fits the ship. So, frosted dome, so it really glows really nice, and I'm going to show you just how well this fits in. I cut a hole in the top of the model because the bridge is missing, but you get the idea here of just how well this fits in. I think the word for it is like a glove. And that, whoa, trust me, it really does. It has to be glued in. I'm not going to do that until I get through getting fingerprints on it. There. That is just a beautiful fit. And, oh, I'm not in the frame. There you are, beautiful fit. Just fits really good. And what we're going to do now is get rid of those fingerprints. Like so. That won't be so bad. And, you know, I'll put a few of them in here. Because it needs to be a nice globular looking look to it. What we're going to do next is we're going to take this and put some lights inside and light this up and see how it looks and get a look-see at the model. Of course, I've got the gold on the bottom now, and it's pretty well on the rivets and stuff, and it's pretty well finished off. I have to really scorch this. There's all these burned areas here and stuff from re-entering the atmosphere and being battle damage that I'm going to do to it. But first, before I do that, I want to see this in there and lit up. There we go. We got the engines lit up. I think I may stick some gears turning in there and stuff, but I mean, really, this came out way better than I thought it would, and it's really, really going to be cool. What I want to do now is slam the top on temporarily, and we'll take a look. So here we are. I temporarily slapped this thing together, and I got the dome I made today all lit up, and wow, and it's pretty cool. It really came out nice. I gotta get the windows in on the other side and permanently tack down the bridge. Maybe put some kind of little screws in here to hold this down so I can get it off again and be able to get, if I get a chance, to make some Martian figures, although I doubt you'll see them the way I'm going to shoot this, but you might. Of course, I could always CG them in too. Back to work on the Martian, and as it turns out, nothing will stick to the Velcro. Least of all, silicone. I don't know why, because silicone sticks to everything and sticks to it well, but it just peels off this stuff like nothing. However, any place that the silicone was actually attached to the skin, you can see it will not let go, because silicone sticks to silicone. So, these worked really great for a second, and then they didn't work. So what I've done is, you can see, quite by accident, I found that the Velcro, when it was glued on, even with CA, wouldn't stick to the Velcro. And this is both types I tried. It left this residue behind, which gives me surface area. So on this one I did with blue painter's tape, the lower lip. Now I'm going to put silicone on this and over the back of it and attach it to here, and there's no way in hell this will ever come loose. Since the old eyelids are so thick, and they are thick, and that's my fault for the way I did the core, It wasn't exactly precise. What I'm doing is I've cut them off and I've made new ones, and I've tinted the silicone a bit darker this time, so the upper lids are a little bit darker, and then of course I can paint over them with more silicone paint. But what I've done is I've cut them off. Now this Velcro would not remove from the bar, but that's okay because we know the silicone is going to stick to this Velcro because it's going to be all interlaced into this, so it actually works out pretty well. But what I'm going to do is put these very thin eyelids on here and silicone them on, and then silicone them up to here, and now they'll be able to open and close very easily, with much less strain. I'm finding that the skin repairs so easily with clear silicone caulking that it doesn't matter what happens to the skin, I can fix it. And already this has dried very quickly, and I'm able to move this so well now. Can I get to it? Try to do this with one hand, just to give you an idea. I'm biting with my teeth here. No, I can't. There we go, I got this now. You can see I'm just barely moving it. It really moves nice, so. And it's barely dried yet, and I can push it really far close, especially once the lower one is hooked up. So that's working out really well. I'm just doing that with one hand. Cool? So, and then pushing, and just pushing on the wire with my hand. It moves that easily. When I have levers in this thing, it's really gonna fly. Well, I went to lunch and I came back, and my goodness, it appears that we are set up. So I'm gonna open these up and pull them out and attach them. And you can see that they're lifting up very, very well. So I've just got these temporarily in here, and they go up behind rather than fit over, so that they're actually tucked up underneath that fold there. And when they lift up, which they'll do very easily, they just move so much easier to open and close now because they're so thin and they're so flexible. So when we come back here from walking the dogs, we're gonna attach them. So I got both eyelids in place with the silicone, and these will dry till tomorrow, and then I'll be able to hook up the actual attachment points that make them move. But they're very soft and they should move very, very easily. I mean, I can very, very easily move these, so and they close good. So while I wait for silicone to dry, I've been working on this, and eventually we'll be able to mount this on a pole and put it against green screen tomorrow. But as you can see, the engines are looking really nice. I got a bunch of diffusion inside the engine now that gives it sort of this fog effect. Of course, the camera, as usual, is not, there it goes, exposing things quite the way I want them to. That's not how it looks. It's not so abrupt looking at all. We got the windows on both sides. We got greens and blues going on in there. And here's the mounting pole, which will wrap some green screen material around here, and the power comes out here. I'm able to remove the top because I want to put like the feeling of something inside the cockpit, because we're not going to ever get that close. These screws remove so we can get inside. A swivel is going to go on this of some kind because it's going to come out and be able to do this and shoot rays from it, and we're going to be seeing it like this in the first shot from underneath. Now I don't know what those dark areas are down there, but these are strictly in the video. They don't show in person. Hey, look right here, you can see I get close, it's more of a cloud effect, which is what I was going for. All kinds of stuff done on this Martian. I didn't show you every single detail because it's kind of monotonous and boring. All I've been doing is taking cables and routing them and clipping them and hooking up attachment points and leverage points to it, extending shafts, and getting everything collected together so this guy can function, not to mention getting the darn eyelids to work, which wasn't easy, and I finally was able to do. Solving the problem with the silicone coming loose from the Velcro, though it was a very good suggestion of Richard Cave's, it wouldn't work because nothing would stick to the silicone. Sorry, to the Velcro. nothing, not even CA. I mean, you can't glue CA to it where it's non-silicone. It would come away. There's something about the backing on it, and I tried different ones. Nothing worked. So, ended up going directly as I originally planned and directly siliconing the plastic surfaces to the silicone itself. Now, silicone sticks great to plastic. It won't come off unless you peel it, and even then it's difficult to get off at best. So you can see here he's looking really, really good. And the mouth does close all the way, which is nice when I pull it shut, and the eyelids work really good. The fingers are all working really good. And you can see down here that you have your wrist goes in here. You put your fingers in these, and when you pull on them, you can see how well, drop that finger. You can see how well the fingers work. So these just work fabulous. I hardly have to pull on them to get them to move at all. So we're not going to have any problems there. For the most part, the fingers are going to be, let's see if I do more than one. I've got one hand here, so I'm trying to do as many as I can. I can do sort of two here and film it at the same time. They move very, very fluidly and nice. But basically, he's going to be holding on to the gun, so there's not going to be a lot of that. And I'm going to put some elastic on the back, which will pull him back open a little bit more. Back here, you can see he's been sealed up there. I still have to seal this down, and that's been sealed there. But we're not ever going to see that. You can see all the cables are threaded and routed, and of course I have these wonderful fancy popsicle stick excuse me, attachments, but they work very well because when you're holding this and moving the head, when another person's going to be pulling on these to make things like the eyes open up like so. Now I still have to, there are some adjustments I still have to make so that this one opens up wider, as wide as the other one. But in a second here I'll have Mary hold this and you can see a lot of it happening. We've got this that has to be, this has to be wrapped around still a bit, but overall he is 90% of the way there finally at long last, so that I can start building the other stuff for him, his chest pack and the wardrobe. I just show you some of the fingers moving, how they move. And they move really well, so I'm really pleased with that. So this has been nothing but busy work. Now I got to put foam down on here and there, build them out a little bit, give them some fat, and start working on this, his whole tack that he wears. And of course then we'll be working on the helmet and vacuum forming this clear bubble. And I'm hoping I have some clear to fit on that vacuum form over there. Elliot, if you're paying attention, I could use a couple of sheets of PETG to fit that one. I think you know the size because you sent me some before. Because we're going to have to vacuum form the front of this, and then the back of it's going to be brass colored, so that can be just done out of white. So the first thing I had to do is get a paper pattern so I can cut up some styrene. So I've done a quick paper shape for the starting of this backpack, which I'm going to work, or backpack, the chest support system. And I'm going to cut this off, and then I'm going to replicate and make a little pattern I can lay out flat and then cut out of the styrene in shape. That's a theory. So we're starting to get some plastic going here, and this is going to be the chest pack with all the lights on it and all that stuff, and I got the back on. The thing is, I can't get this off again, so this all has to be finished on here and painted on here because there's no way to get it off. This is going to get darted down here and brought together a little tighter, and there'll be lots of trim and stuff that'll go on it, and rivets and little gauges here and some lights that blink and stuff, of course. The big thing is too is I got to sculpt a shape here, get a shape that goes around the head like this, and then this way and then lift it off, probably do it out of aluminum wire, and then I'm going to sculpt a shape and make an alginate, produce it out of stone, and I'm going to do a back half as well, and then we can vacuum form the helmet on there. Front part clear, back part solid. I'm going to fatten out the legs tomorrow, and Mary's going to do the gloves and the boots and the fabric part next week. This will be, puppet will be pretty done, I guess, next week, which means that we can do a lot of scenes with it. The other thing, of course, I'm going to do is show you how it all works tomorrow, how the lips and the face all moves and the eyelids open and close, so which they do really well now. So we can see all that in the next installment tomorrow, that next day I always talk about. Don't look at the strange pilot. He's about the right size, but this is my albatross, and this thing has been sitting ever since Jilly was very ill. I never got a chance to finish it. I finally got it down from the ceiling and found out that the servos aren't working inside of it. And you can see them down in there. It's a mess right now because I've been tearing things out, but I got to put 2 servos in. They were brand new, the plane's never been flown, and the darn things don't work. One of them's dead and the other one's freaking out. So I'm going to get new servos. But this is my albatross. This is all wood plane covered in monocoat. You can see some of these have gotten loose. I'm going around tightening them up. They're strictly for looks, but it's a wonderful plane. It's an albatross from World War I, and we will be flying this very soon. And of course, we'll get that on video, won't we, Mary? So, and this, we will be getting to this probably tomorrow, but it'll actually be in next week's video. I've got to do the rest of the windows on this and start tidying it all up and actually painting it the real whole colors. I got to get this top to fit on really good and get some of the little defects that are in there, get this so it fits on really good. And I still have these to clean up.
Hi, here's our Martian. I don't have Mary here today, and the volume might be a little low because I'm on the camera I can't hook a lavalier to. But that's okay because I think you can see the face. We're not real close. It's going to be hard for me to operate it because I can't see the face, so I don't know exactly what's going on. But you can see here, he's got a lot of mouth movement. And we have a very loud car outside, which is, of course, par for the course. I'm going to cut the camera. Okay, I think the car is... Alright, well, the first thing I'm going to do is show you that the mouth opens and closes, of course. And it's really hard to tell what's going on here. But it is closing and opening. Okay? And then, of course, as it's opening and closing, I can do this, which gives it some lip movement. From what I can see, I'm going to step out here. It's really hard. It's really needed Mary here for this, but you can see that I could get some articulation from those lips this way, while the mouth is doing this. And then we can close it like so. It works really good when I'm standing behind it. Likewise, we have our eyelids, which are working very nicely. So they open pretty wide. Okay, and we have also the brow movement. Oh, that's not brow movement. Let's see. Where's the brow movement? Brow movement's here. No, that's eye movement. That's our brow movement. You can see his brows go up and down or independently alternate this way and that way. Like so. And when the eyes are open, you can see the eyes look right and left. Let me get those open. Which is hard to do because I'm trying to look and see what's going on at the same time, so bear with me. I believe this is the eye movement here. They're marked, but I can't read them because I'm standing here. So I believe those are moving. Okay? So that's pretty much the facial movement, and I can do a lot more with it when I'm actually standing behind it and I've got a monitor up there to see what's going on. Likewise, I've showed you about the hands. Let's see, we got one that's in frame here. Yeah, here's one that's in frame here. And I've got this whole rig that attaches to my my elbow, my wrist, that is, and it allows him to be able to move his fingers. Like this, see? And then I pulled off one of the rings, unfortunately. And here's the other hand here, and it also works very well. Again, I'm trying to move this stuff while I'm looking at the camera. You can see how well those all move. So, okay, so we got the moving fingers, and that's pretty much it. I see it flashing. I think I'm about to run out of memory. But again, brow expression, eyes, eyelids. Okay, and then the jaw, and of course the lips. Okay, and so when all that's being coordinated by about 4 puppeteers and moving the head, which will move right and left on this pole here, we'll have a moving live Martian. As you can see here, I have all this stuff to build. I'm currently working on the chest or body pack, and of course I got to sheet this and hollow some of it out. And once I sheet the sides here, I'm going to hollow this out so we have room for electronics. I'm going to have some lights working in there and stuff. Of course, there's a fabric that has to go on here. I have to pad up the legs more in fabric there, but you can see all the controllers are in. These are the arm controllers, and your wrist goes in there. You can see how everything comes out the back of the head. Keep in mind that you don't see the back of the head on this ever, and it is a solid, it's not transparent, the bubble on the back, it's brass. However, I will be closing this up a bit, but it's going to be brass back here. The front part's going to be clear, but you can see the controls here, and we're going to have, I marked them with tape for right now, but we're going to actually have on them real markers to tell you what's what. And here's how this works. And your wrist fits through like this, your fingers go in these, and as it's very natural because your hands are like this, and you're in strapped into that, and so when you move there, the fingers move like you see. So it's like a spider. So that's going to work out great, except the rings keep dropping off because these crimps don't really hold that well on this smooth wire, so I'm going to have to basically wrap the wire around several times and twist it, and then it works good. Every time one falls off, that's what I do. But she's looking good, or he's looking good, and of course there's going to be, you see how these naturally want to come back to their position after they relaxed a bit. What I'm going to do to help that a bit is to do this, and you can see I put a piece of elastic on here, a rubber band, very quickly here, but what it does is it makes it want to pop back every time, so I don't have any problems with that. Yeah, it doesn't restrict it, so I think, am I on frame? Yeah, I am in frame. Okay, there we go. So I have a nice tendency to want to kick back better. I need to stretch it a bit more still, but it does go nice and back again. And so I just did that real quick too. So I'm going to do this with all of them and stretch it out a bit more because you can release it pretty easy, and you can stretch this and just tie a piece of wire around the tip to keep it that way. What a great week. We always have a great week around here because it's lots of fun to do what we do. Mary and I enjoy it a great deal. I didn't get to the Enterprise this week. I am going to be working on it later this week because when we finish the show is usually on Thursday, and we cut it so it gets loaded by Friday, and then you have it for the weekend. But next week you will see more work done on the Enterprise. A lot of you have contributed to the build, and we really appreciate that. We could always use more. Please visit our website. You can see the link right there. We have a button for donating to the construction of the Enterprise model for the Museum of Science Fiction in Washington, D.C. And your name will go on the plaque. Everyone who's contributed to this build, name will go on a plaque that's going to be in the museum itself. So when the model is there
for all to see, they'll be able to see that you contributed to that. As well as some of you have sent your $100 in that want to have your little tiny figure made, and that there will be an indicator on a map that shows where you are when you look inside one of the windows and be able to see yourself on the ship, which is really, really cool. And in addition to helping us with your support for building this wonderful model here, we want to thank you for all your support to keeping our doors open at SNG Studios. Thanks so much.